Peace. This is DJ Real. This is another episode of the Real Understanding Podcast where we discuss things that may or may not be taboo. Now, I'm coming to you. This is a car ramble again. Now, I know the look of this video, all dark, coming through in the shadows, mystique, mysterious. Well, I'm doing this video in this way to kind of demonstrate what's happening in the investment world, where it comes with investing in, be it real estate, be it Bitcoin, be it stock market. There's a lot of new investors. And with that, a lot of people are triggered by, I guess they hear talks of people making it rich overnight. They heard about people coming up on, millions of dollars of Bitcoin, how they invested a little money and flipped it overnight, or wholesalers, people wholesaling real estate, making millions. They able to flip into properties and got duplexes and rental units. And I know my Facebook and Instagram and YouTube algorithm flood my timeline with these things, and it's exciting, And I just want to discuss something that I want all investors to know. I don't care if it's one person looking at this video or if it's 100,000 people, 1,000,000 people. If you're going to invest money, there's a thing called due diligence. And that's something everybody must engage in. Due diligence. Know what you're investing in. Know that if you take your hard-earned money and you're a working person and you just want to escape the rat race, it's that temptation to just go for it, almost like you're gambling. And I think people need to, remove that from their lifestyle, their way of thinking. Get this gambling, hey, let me just go for it. It's all about mitigating your risk, knowing your risk tolerance. What can you afford to lose? And I thought about a lot of people on my job where I work. They got on this thing about, Bitcoin and stock markets and Robinhood, investing. And I've been investing for I would say 2013, maybe 2014, I started getting into investing. But I knew about it. I read up on it. I was like an economic nerd. Like, it was interesting to me. Even as a teenager, I knew about stock market. So people asked me my opinion about things. They didn't want to do the research. They just wanted to hear a quick answer. Hey, does this stock sound good? I'm not wealthy. I'm a thousandaire, if anything. But I would always tell them to look. I give them the places to look. Hey, go get some education on it. Learn. Like, I did option trading for a few years, and I learned. For the first year, I did nothing but study. I had to kind of pay to play, so to speak. I paid a little small $50 a month to be in this class, learning with these other investors. But I learned a wealth of knowledge in that class that I wouldn't have learned outside. So maybe that year 2, that's when I started investing. I started making mistakes, and then I started learning from my mistakes. And then from there, I became an experience in option trading. So I was able to make some returns and then learn some strategies that still work. So here comes the Bitcoin, things like that. Move very similar. And other, coworkers, hey, you heard about Bitcoin? I know about Bitcoin when it was $500 a Bitcoin. When the only place you could buy it is you go to a meetup and purchase those little paper Bitcoin wallets. But to me, at the time, it sounded like a scam. I'm like, okay, I'm going to give you money, and you're going to give me this paper. It didn't sound right. So it's like, okay, now if you mine the Bitcoin, that's when you really gonna make money from it, because you can mine something with just computing power, take that, then somebody will buy it. So I can understand from that point. But when the Bitcoin market crashed recently, folks were a little salty, like they almost like they was mad at me. I have nothing to do with that. Do due diligence. Do your due diligence. I try to tell these people, do your due diligence. It's the same, I was looking through YouTube, and I seen where there's people talking about there was a fund called the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. And there's other funds like this that's out there. But I heard about this years ago. Again, it was all over, social media, Vlad TV. The guy named Jay Morrison, they was interviewing him. He was talking about it, and the idea sounds grand. I was like, yeah, that's nice. But what people need to understand, I need everybody to understand this, when it comes to investments and things you're doing with money, you need not to have any emotion attached to it. Don't let that be a trigger. Don't have emotional triggers, because that's how you get pulled in, like by a salesperson. You really want this thing. It sounds beautiful. I want in. You need to refrain from being emotional and use logic. Always find the paperwork on it. So in that case, I remember I heard about it. I was like, I have a grain of salt about it. I'm like, $500 minimum to join. You own some real estate. I don't see the connection. So then I looked it up. He posted the information, and they was transparent. It's just you had to read it. It was small print. You had to read the whole thing. I read the entire disclosure, and I saw where, okay, this is not an investment that I'll be interested in. It's basically, you don't get your money back. I mean, and if you do, it take a very long time. There's no guarantees as in any investment, but it was a legal move. They were very well thorough in their how they did that fund. So you have public funds and you have private funds. That was like a private fund. The type of fund it was. It wasn't sold on the stock market. And I think people had the misconception in that case, this real estate investment trust, that all things are the same. Like, it was something totally different if you would have bought it on a stock exchange where you can trade, you can buy that fund, put money in it, turn around the next trading day, sell it, get your money back, either at a gain or a loss. But that's not the case with a lot of these private funds. But most people don't read. So my whole point, and I'm trying to keep this brief, it's just to please do your due diligence. It might be boring. A lot of this information around money making opportunities is very boring. I believe it's done like that on purpose. The read is long. They use language that's complicated unnecessarily so. There's very little straightforwardness. But despite that, you must, as the investor, you must read thoroughly. Look into the white paper of different, if it's some sort of platform, look into their white papers, learn about it, and see how you're protected. Usually people are going to make things that's going to serve them. So just, again, this is just a video. It wasn't about any particular fund or anything, but just wanted to give the message of please do your due diligence. When you investing, learn about that thing first. I don't care what industry you're in. real estate, the stock market, Bitcoin, altcoin, different alternatives, please do your due diligence. And then from there, you can make your decision. But money is not something that we need to be wasting and throwing away, risking it just because it sounds good. And it's okay to invest money into education, but please know what you're doing. Again, this is DJ Real signing off. Real Understanding Podcast. We're trying to get your understanding of a thing. One love.